Good morning and welcome to SoulCall Sunday. My name is Lisa Ferraro. I am the founder and spiritual director of SoulCall Global, and we welcome you wherever you are on your path of evolution in consciousness. It is a beautiful sunny day here in Columbus, Ohio. And good morning, Joy. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, please send your notes and hellos in the chats. We love seeing them come across. This morning, the subject is on the way of love. We're going to be getting into that. And I have here a clear bowl so you can see I've put all of the entries in. Last week, we were on location with the Soul Squad at Ann Juice and Company here in Clintonville. There we are packing up the boxes and bags of love and food. We were able to give away over 100 and like between 115 and 118. I'm a Virgo, so I get very exacting about that kind of stuff. Bags of food and then some more later in the week. To people who are food insecure in our neighborhood. We've got our pod, Joy, who just dropped in to say hello. She's out there in Livermore, California, beginning a Soul Squad pod in her area with this great big food giveaway. And so, good morning, Terry. Welcome from Canada. Oh, no, yeah, Nova Scotia. Yeah. And it's just really fun to get together. It was so much joy in community, working that hard, being of service to the God and others, which is on the way of love, this segue into the talk this morning. But we entered names into a drawing for a $50 gift certificate to the Ann Juice and Company. And a little bit later in the program, I'm not going to tell you where, so you have to stay riveted, just like a good news tease would be. We're going to do the drawing to see who won. So we thank you for everyone who participated, who came and picked up bags of food for other people in their neighborhood, and everyone who was able to find us and allow us to share our love with you. So we're going to be doing that again in March, and more about that a little bit later. But first, I'd like to welcome Deborah Weisenberger Lippitz, as we've begun the habit of recognizing that we are part of a continuum of consciousness. These bodies are, in fact, like Rumi would say, reed flutes for the infinite, to play a divine song. Well, we are floating in space as light. And when we consciously allow ourselves to open to the light that is within and around us and start to become familiar, I was talking with Sifu Helen Yi about this the other night, when in our practice, it's one thing to go to healers, who place needles perfectly in acupuncture, and we have Reiki masters on our healing arts team. When we allow them to help us, that's a really important part of getting our flow of energy jump-started. And when we put these things into practice on a regular basis, we're more in tune with the instrument of our being, so that we're able to notice when something is off even more quickly. And then we're better able to bring the body back into balance. Just kind of like when you're driving down the road and shouldn't be texting and driving, or drinking and eating food and driving, but I don't ever text and drive, but I do drink and eat food when I'm driving. If you notice you're going off the road a little bit to the right, you can just gently pull it back. You're not in the ditch all the way. So this is kind of like that. Keeping your car of consciousness on the road and paying attention to this beautiful vehicle, which is the human body. This is the only place we get to experience life like this, is on planet Earth. So I invite you to participate with Deborah. Deborah, I always want to call you Reverend Deborah Weisenberger Lippitz. I'm just going to do it as she shares an experience of Qigong, working with the energy. Enjoy this practice.
We are working our way up the spine. So today, the very top of the head, Ba Hui, which is the all-point meeting place for the meridians in the body. It's called, Ba Hui means 100-point meeting place, but actually all the meridians meet right here, so it's a very important point. Please look forward with the eyes open, from inside the mind's consciousness, out through Yin Tang. Merge outward to integrate with infinite space. Gather all the healing chi, love, good information, and pull it back through Yin Tang to the center of the head, and very gently close the eyes. With the eyes closed, it's very easy to feel the mind shining brightly inside. From there, place your attention to the top of the head, Bahui, and open up, expanding up into infinite space. Gather all the healing chi, good information, and pour it down through Bahui into the mind's home, and from there, shining through all layers and tissues of the body, bones, all the way down to the bubbling spring of each foot, and open up Yongxin to merge with earth chi, and all the way through the earth to infinite space, gathering Huanyang Chi, good information, and pull it up through the earth into the body and deep inside. Now we are connected above and grounded from below. We are merged together as the space in between the sky and the earth, becoming a part of all things, connecting us all, heart to heart and mind to mind, together, and also heart to heart and mind to mind with nature. Now, please allow the right hand to move up in front of the navel, but place the mind's consciousness to the top of the head, Bahui, the meeting point of the meridians, and slowly circle, making a circle moving inward counterclockwise, spiraling into the body and up to Bahui, opening Bahui, the meeting point of all meridians. Open Bahui, opening, opening. Now circles become smaller, smaller, into tiny infinitesimal circles at Bahui. Then stop, turn the right palm inward, bringing the left hand on top. Place both palms on top of the navel, Lao Gong to do Qi. Enjoy nurturing with Qi, Bahui completely open. Then relax the hands to both sides and keeping the mind's consciousness inside. Gently open the eyes and give thanks, knowing we can continue circling and spiraling with the mind's consciousness in Bahui, to open Bahui for as long as this feels good to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Doesn't that feel good? It's empowering, isn't it? To know how to work with the energies of life, all encompassed in the universal force, the one force, which is love. There's no force greater. There's nothing opposite to it. And it's a sacred practice when we get to tune our love with the infinite source of all of life, of all of love. And so I invite you into just a brief meditation practice where we sit in the stillness. I was thinking about how funny it is when we sit in the stillness. I was reading a book, an older book from 2009 by a brilliant scientist who works with the ideas and concepts of biomimicry, moving energy the way nature, by mimicking the biology, by mimicking the planet. And his name is Jay Harmon. And In the book, I was reminded of the fact that even when we're sitting still, we're still moving at 137 miles per second. Think about that. So if we could tune ourselves into the consciousness of love and the consciousness, the higher love, we would be this smear of love. Everything that came, depending on which direction we're moving, we'd be a smear of light and a smear of love. So keeping our consciousness on that higher vibration, the one that can shift and change all things just by showing up, which is what we were talking about before, just our presence as love, tuned into the universal force of love. What a world we can create, where we can bring peace where there's discord. Our thoughts are more powerful. And so take a moment to get on your favorite meditation posture and allow this song called Sacred, which is about tuning into the infinite source of love. And it's a sacred agreement we make with our souls to stay in this loving light and to carry it forth in the world. Allow it to wash over you.
So sacred, so secret, so precious, this love. 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 I will share, 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 I will share this love. So sacred, so secret, so precious, this love. So sacred, so secret, so precious, this love. I will share, 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 I will share this love, this love. This love, this love, this love. So sacred, so secret, so precious, this love. So sacred, so secret, so precious, this love. This love, this love, 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 this love, this love, this love, this love.
Just taking that in and allowing our hearts to stay expanded and open to the infinite source of love, which lights our speech, lights our breath, lights our thoughts, our actions. May we always be aware of this light we dance in, we walk in, we smile in, we laugh, love, eat, have our way and being in, co-creation with at all times. This sacred love that is at the center of the soul of every one of us. And we each get to bring it to life in a particular way. I say yes, even when I don't know, especially when I don't know. So today the subject is On the Way of Love. And I borrowed the talk title from the title track of a recording Erika Luckett and I did some years ago, where we put music to the poetry of the 13th century mystic poet Rumi, who happens to be the most widely read poet in the West for many reasons. The poetry itself, there's just something in it, there's an energy in it that when you read it, when the reader has a chance to just sit with it for a minute, it electrifies the inside of our being. It makes us come alive. And so the song lyric is, and you'll hear the song a little bit later, I got an old video of Erika and I, we recorded it in 2009, singing the song On the Way of Love. And the lyric is taken right from the poem. And it's on the way of love, you must be very alive. The lifeless heart has nothing to sing. You must be very alive. And then it goes on to say, so who is alive? The one whose soul is born from love, whose soul is born from love. And that's taken from the translation from author Sufi Sheikh and poet himself, and Sheikh of the Sufi Rumi order of Sufism, the Mevlevis. That's Sheikh Kabir Halminsky from his book Love's Ripening. And we got to co-create with Sheikh Kabir when we put these songs together. So who's alive? The one whose soul is born from love, which is every one of us, every single one of us. So part of the vision for SoulCall Global is, in the words of Howard Thurman, is to find out what makes us come alive. What makes you come alive? Not to ask what the world needs, but to ask what makes you come alive, because what the world needs is more people who have come alive. And it's that spark of the infinite. And when we come together in community, like we did last week, doing things, helping each other with the things we need to help us remember that we are part of a vast intelligence which supports and loves us. And we each take turns representing love for each other. Sometimes it's SoulCall Global coming to help you, and sometimes it's you taking that out further and further. That ripple effect of love is contagious. So what makes us come alive is the calling of our soul. Whatever it is that you are here to do, it's that thing we must do. It was the saying is, you must not die with the symphony of your life unfinished. Right? Whatever the song of your soul is, it's calling us to bring it forth. And I think sometimes, I remember when I was younger, I used to think it needed to be this grand sweeping thing, or it didn't matter. That's not true. What matters is, it's, like when the rain falls, it's the trillions of droplets that constitute a rainfall. It's not some bucket downpour, although it comes down like that sometimes too. It's each individual bringing to life that which nourishes the earth we live on. So your droplet matters. That's another Sufi song, Listen, O Drop. In the arms of the sea, be secure. In the arms of the sea of love, recognizing that we are always dancing in this infinite field of love. There's nothing that came here that was created outside of the context of love. I'm into this Rumi mode here today, and it's one of my favorite quotes from Rumi is, when I went to write about love, the tip of my pen broke. And one of the reasons that resonates with me so deeply was, in order for us to write about something, there must be something greater with which to put it into context so that we can bring it down, distill it into words as best we can. There's nothing greater than love. We cannot get around it. And that is, in fact, the field that Rumi spoke of when he says, out beyond ideas of right doing and wrong doing, out beyond that idea of what we think we can write. There's an open field. I'll meet you there. And from that field, words like you and I, all words stop making any sense. There's only divine realization. So sometimes transmitting the aliveness of love, sometimes it's in a quiet act of handing a bag of groceries as we did last week. And we're going to do that again on the 21st of March. So we're in the process of collecting more food because people are going to be continue to be food insecure. We learned a lot in this. And it's one easy way that we can help right now. So your donations go toward helping us do this act of love. And it could be in silence. Those who came to pick up food, there was a smile through our eyes. We were all masked. It's sometimes our thoughts could be more loving than our words. Have you ever thought about that? Sometimes we're looking for the right thing to say. Maybe it's just to sit and be a loving presence. It's not anything we say at all. It's just our way of being, or just being present with someone. I remember many years ago, it was 2006 when my father passed away. And prior to that, a good friend of mine, his mom just passed away. He was one of my bandmates. And when you spend the kind of time we spend with bandmates that you've worked with for a long time, you spend 5 and 6 hours at a time on weekends playing music, but then you have breaks and creating music and practicing, and we get to know each other pretty well. But my friend Nick came, and people were coming through and just offering their condolences. And I was appreciative of everyone who came and all the kind words. People were trying to say the right thing. Well, what Nick did that I loved so much, he came over to me and he handed me a card and he said, read this later, it'll make more sense. And there was like a lull in the visitations. You know, it wasn't 2 to 4 and 7 to 9. We're Italian. And I say these things about Italians, but this is going to sound really bad. They're kind of hardcore with funerals, you know. We're there from noon until 9. There's none of this visitation stuff. And we get there earlier at 10. So we're there all day long. But he took me aside, and I'll never forget it. He just sat with me. And he didn't say anything, and he didn't ask me anything. But I could feel so much love coming from him to me, and so much compassion, and so much sympathy. I felt all the things in the field of love that if he had tried to express it in words, wouldn't have landed as deeply into my heart. It would have gone through the translation apparatus in my brain to try to make sense of what he was saying, or to connect with him. Well, what he wanted most for me was to connect with love. Love itself. It was so beautiful. I'll never forget it. And I try at times to be that kind of a presence for others, maybe just walking into the room and just not saying anything. You know, think of a time when you felt compelled to just be still and not say anything, but just, so that's a practice we can put into place when on the way of love. You must be very alive, tuning ourselves in meditation, maybe just to turn off all of the sense lamps, all the things that pull us out and engage us with the material world, pulling all of that back in meditation and energizing that consciousness back in the spine and brain, and tuning into the infinite field of love and pure potential. The place where it's okay to give ourselves permission to not know is the other thing. Another step on that path of love is to be more curious. Rather than coming in and solving all the problems. I remember when I was a kid, I would ask my father questions about things that he didn't know the answers to, but he felt like as my dad, he needed to know the answer. So we made fun later as we got older, like the 3 words my father never said in a row were, I don't know. Never said it. He'd say, I love you, but he'd never say, I don't know. He would pause and try really hard to come up with, he felt like he should know. So that's a lot of pressure. Do you ever find yourself in a position where you feel like you should know? And if you say, I don't know, and be curious about things. I think we suffer a little bit in this world right now by a crisis of curiosity. Curiosity gives us permission to live in the question. I see in the scroll there, my friend Tom Rausch, who's a brilliant life coach, works with with people. We had a wonderful conversation once about asking the right question. And sometimes it's just living in the question at all and not even trying to come up with the right question, but just recognizing you're curious about something. I'm curious about this. And perhaps a question would be, instead of asking, why is this happening? What is this about? Remember how we were talking a couple weeks ago, like, what is the meaning of this? Like the straight lady in the Marx Brothers movies. Allowing ourselves to let ourselves off the hook. Recognizing that we live and participate with the simultaneous nature of vibrational awareness. What does that mean? That means that my adult mind can talk to the child mind who experienced something in linear time years ago, but it's still on a wave, on a continuum, or on a vibrational dimensional level where I can say, my adult mind can say to my child's mind kindly, where did you learn that? And is it still true? Are people hard to get along with? Is everybody who looks like that like this? Where did you learn that? And begin to gently, lovingly, self-love starts first. That curiosity. Now, where did I ever learn a thing like that? And does it still serve me today? What kind of response do I get when I lead with this idea? Being more curious. There was nothing more interesting than living in Berkeley, California. When I first moved out there, I moved from Pittsburgh to Berkeley. Talk about, man, it was amazing. And curious things would happen that would bring things into question. I remember we were walking down the street one afternoon, beautiful, gorgeous day as always, and sun was shining, and we got to the corner and we couldn't see. We saw that a woman had a leash, but whatever she had on the other end of the leash was around the corner. But she was just standing there. And what would you expect to see on the leash? A dog. Most people would expect to see a dog, except in Berkeley. When we got around the corner to see what she had at the other end of her leash, it was one of those little pigs. It was a little piglet on a leash walking around Berkeley. I was like, okay, I was not ready for that. I was not expecting. I thought I knew is the point. And then I became more curious about everything on a leash. It shifted my consciousness just enough so that I could not be 100% sure every time I saw a leash, but I couldn't see it was at the end of it, that it was going to be a dog. In Berkeley, it could be a pig. It could be something else. See people walking around with cats. Another time, a young woman was pushing a carriage. And when we stopped by to just look in to say how cute we expected to see a baby, it was a little cat in the carriage. And a cat's in a cradle. And now it was hilarious because it's not what we expected. So it was the perfect place to shift this consciousness of knowing to being more curious and checking myself with expectations and starting to let go of things I thought I knew so that I could experience more of what is actually in front of me instead of thinking I know the answer to it. So what is life? How to live on the way of love? You must be very alive. Being alive in participation with something that is active and constantly changing, which is life itself. You must be very alive, allowing for this curious adventure of love to unfold itself right before you. I say it's kind of like unfolding the red carpet of consciousness. Each day is a new day. When we were doing a Qigong retreat a couple summers ago, today is a brand new day. And every single day is a new opportunity for us to pull from a new energy. We have just shifted, even though it looks like we're still in the same house. We are in a different place under the stars. The moon is in a different position. So as we evolve our consciousness, allow for that participation and that supreme self-love, allowing our adult mind to be gentle as it helps to make sense of things that got lodged maybe in our child's mind that don't serve us any longer, to just let it go. And the feeling of that will be interesting to you. Each one of us will feel that in a different way. I had this little pantry area in my house, and I had a lot of things come to me from Amazon, and I was saving the boxes for these food drives. And so they kind of collected in that area. And I didn't mind because I wasn't going to throw them away and take them to the garage, but I just left them there for a minute. And just the other night, I cleared them away. I took them out of the pantry area. Even though they were stacked neatly, it was kind of imposing on that space. It was constricting the flow. And I took them out and I did put them in the garage. And I came back in. And as soon as I walked into the room, it was like, wow, this is so much bigger. It made me think of how when we clear away some hard, square thoughts that got lodged into our consciousness somehow that we want to hold on to as true, when we can clear away those thoughts, how much more spacious the opportunity to play and live and love in the field of awareness becomes. Maybe you've been on a vacation. Remember those? Those were fun. And you're in maybe you spend some time in a hotel room if you're on tour or something like that. Then you get back to your house. Even if your house isn't grand and huge, if it's 2 rooms instead of 1, you know how that just feels? Or if you climb to the top of a hill or a mountain and you could feel the energy all around you, that spaciousness. So what are you willing to trade in that was maybe a smaller thought consciousness? What are you willing to trade up for on the way of love? And then the 14th century mystic poet Hafez said, "This evening, the subject is love, and tomorrow night as well. In fact, I could think of no better topic for us to discuss until we all die." And what's layered in here, topic for us to discuss, is the realization that no matter what we talk about, any topic you talk about is encompassed within the field of love. It's all love. And what makes it become alive, love in action, is our intention to bring about more love and more light. So the impulse right now for some people is to fight fire with fire, so to speak. Or we see a lot of people who are in need of more love by the actions that they're showing. It looks like they could use some more love in their life. So just by our thoughts, we don't have to meet these people toe to toe, but we can send love anywhere. It is the most powerful force in the universe, and it is available to every single one of us. And it speaks to us in the language of our hearts. So allow yourself to feel the passion that you have to bring love to life as the expression of yourself. And watch how the world around you shifts and how the presence of you shifts the world around you just by showing up. You don't have to do anything. Let it smile through your eyes every single day. So please enjoy this song, On the Way of Love, vintage Lisa Nediga from back in the day.
On the way of love, you must be very light. A lifeless heart has nothing to sing. You must be very alive. So who's alive? The one whose soul is born from love, whose soul is born from love. Thunder will rumble from out of the heart. From the body the soul will flash. Lightning strikes from a tumbling cloud. The whole meadow greets the storm of spring. So who's alive? The one whose soul is born from love, whose soul is born from love, love. In love, search for us. In us, search for this. In love, search for us. in our search for this, in love search for us, in our search for this, in love search for us, in our search for this, in love search for us, in our search for this.
Oh my gosh, so much fun singing those songs. I see people are asking about, that is on a CD called On the Way of Love, which was Ruby Sings Rumi, songs inspired by the poetry of Rumi. And you can find that on Lisa and Erica, Erika, lisaanderika.com. And I want to give a shout out to Tony and Jean and Lily and Joy and Helen and Kathy and Laurel. And I see so many. I feel like I'm doing the I Spy somebody. So thank you for joining us this morning. We've got so many things going on. I am going to take this opportunity to shuffle these around a little bit. We're going to do our drawing in just a second. But before we do, as I'm mixing them up, I want to let you know about a couple of classes coming up. One is right after today's program at 11 o'clock. It is Toddler and Preschool Music with Amber Darland. And we've got a lot of people signed up for it. It's a free offering. It's donation based if you're able to, but register for the Zoom link on the website, soulcallglobal.org. Look under events and classes. That's happening at 11 o'clock today, Eastern time. And then coming up March 1st, beautiful Reverend Christy is offering an opportunity for women of color to do a writing workshop, and it starts on March 1st. And it's going to be based off of the other workshop she's doing, which is starting in its second quarter. It was a year-long process called Writing as a Path of Awakening. And that's also beginning again, too. So on our website, under events and classes, under Evolve, look under events and classes, and you could find out more information about both of these wonderful classes. We're going to have some of the writings that came from her first offering over the winter featured in our newsletter. And we invite you to sign up for our newsletter at soulcallglobal.org. Lots of really interesting things about art. There's poetry, there's recipes, there's spiritual practice, lots of value people are enjoying. And it lets you know where to get involved with the shout out. The SoulCall shout out this week again is going to go out to our Soul Squad, giving them a huge round of applause for organizing and pulling off, again, the fantastic food drive we did. It was our second one. We did a smaller version of this in December, but we gave away close to 120 bags of food and then more afterward for people with food insecurities. We're going to do it again on March 21st, partnering with a juice company and a couple other places around town. I just want to show you. This is just a sample of, I've got like a stack of thank you cards that came in to us from people who are so grateful that SoulCall, your donations helped us to help others have a happy holiday season. They were able to eat as a family in their own homes, buy one toy for their child to open at Christmas. So your donations, and the part of it is some of the people didn't know even who we are. They just sent it to our post office box because we like to do it kind of anonymously so that they remember the connection is ultimately with Source and then we as people. But if you would like to contribute so that we can keep spreading the love and the joy, please send your donations. No amount is too big. No amount is too small to soulcallglobal.org/donate. You can use Venmo. You can use PayPal. People are sending the amounts of their checks. They're waiting to get their stimulus checks, and they're going to send that to SoulCall so that we can do our good and perfect work as we grow out this outpicturing of helping people with food insecurities and some other things we're doing too, like helping people get some things they need. One of the things we're going to be doing in conjunction with one of our primary donors, circulate the stimulus. If you send us your stimulus check, we're also using it to help people pay bills who are about to have their electricity turned off, or we're targeting certain areas where people are in need. So we have an excellent network of finding people. Sometimes people are having a challenge figuring out who to help. We don't have that problem. We know where they are. And if you know someone who is in need, reach out to us on our contact page at soulcallglobal.org. So I think right now, I'm going to go back to classes. Natalia Zuckerman is our behind the scenes, not so behind the scenes, my partner there, who makes these beautiful videos for us. They're so amazing. But Reverend David Leonard and I have another class coming up starting March 9th. It's Tuesday evening, and March 10th, Wednesday mornings, called Living Beautifully with Uncertainty and Change. And it's going to be inspired by the book by Pema Chodron. So we invite you to sign up for that class and bring your consciousness with us. That's coming up March 9th and 10th. And there'll be a mandala workshop coming up. More about that next week. Kathy Roush is going to join us. Okay, are we ready? SoulCall Cinema presents. We're going to have our first ever. Natalia, you want to come in and tell us about the cinema presentation? Are you up for that? Where are you? No, please. Hi.
No. I was sleeping. Yes, March 5th, we are going to have our very first screening of a film, which will be on a special website coordinated through Women Make Movies. And it's going to be a monthly event. It won't always be first Friday, but we're going to have our first one March 5th, and it'll actually screen throughout the weekend. So we invite you to watch this incredible movie, the title of which I'm forgetting at the moment, but it's an amazing story about Native women's contribution to the women's movement, and it's only screened through this particular website. So it'll be available through the weekend, and then on Monday we'll have a discussion on Zoom live at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, so that we can all get together and talk about it. And then in April we'll be showing something for Earth Day, and June we have an amazing film being premiered by a good friend of ours, Dorothy Fadiman, who will be featured on a Wake Up with the Consciousness Cafe. And we'll have popcorn recipes in the newsletter, and it's just going to be grand.
It's going to be great. So mark your calendars. And again, thanks, Natalia. It's the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. You can watch it anytime, but you got to sign up for the link. And then Monday evening, we'll get together as a community and discuss the film. So we're excited. Yeah, SoulCall Cinema. All right, so now I'm going to close my eyes, and we're going to pick the winner. This is the winner chicken dinner for the $50 gift certificate to And Juice Company. Bonnie Sweeney, excuse me. I'm looking at the bottom. Bonnie Sweeney. I'm not making that up. There you are. Just put your phone number. Maybe we should link that out all over creation. Sorry, but you won. So we were going to contact you with a $50 gift certificate to And Juice Company. Thank you all for entering the drawing. Bonnie Sweeney is our big winner, our first ever on that front. And I also want to just show you some of this cool swag we're going to have coming into our web extraordinaire. Kathy Roush is helping us get our store going. So these caps will be available along with SoulCall masks, the fancy mask you put over the real mask, but all kinds of amazing things in there. I think that's it for today. I want to remind you of the rewind that's also going to happen. The SoulCall rewind is going to happen at 11 o'clock today. Join us and meet other members of your community. I invite you to come into the room with us and just have a little fellowship. We can just talk and get to know you a little bit, get to know each other. But you're going to register under the link for the toddler and preschool program. Register to get into the Zoom room. There's that link. Register to get into the Zoom room for our SoulCall rewind, and then we'll break off into a breakout room. Those people that are coming in for this, just like downtown. We'll meet you in the back, and we'll take you to another room. So thank you once again for joining us. Practice being that love. Practice meditation to help you get that center so that we can bring it forth from our centers and bring it into the world. We look forward to meeting you. If you want to get more involved with Soul Squad, drop us a line on our website on the contact page, soulcallglobal.org. We would love to have you be a vital source of the force of love. And remember, wherever you are loved. Peace and blessings.
One planet.